Welcome to the First 11 channel. Welcome to Ground Football, Tottenham Hotspur. We are here after a victory, a clean sheet as well. Very rare that we come on one of these shows with a win and a clean sheet. But Mark, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you. You?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Yeah, very good from last night. Bit better than the last few weeks, I think. And yeah, lots to talk about. Still a few things for me, but yeah, we're getting there. You obviously saw my messages last night on the WhatsApp, but besides our passing, I thought we were pretty good. But unfortunately, football is about passing. But yeah, no, very good. I thought that second goal was unbelievable. I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, some really, really good performances by some good people there. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Very good. Jacob, how are you, mate?
Yeah, all good, man. It's a good week when Tottenham win and Arsenal lose. So yes, I didn't get to watch the match. I watched the extended highlights today because I was playing football last night. But from what I saw in the extended highlights, I was not exactly overwhelmed, but at least we're improving. So, as I said, mate, we won, Arsenal lost, and looking at the performances aren't great, but the table looks a bit better than it did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it don't look too bad now at all, does it? And special guest tonight, the brilliant Mr. Darren T. How are you, brother?
I am well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Yep, what Jacob said. We won, Arsenal lost. That's all there is to it, man. Honestly.
That's all that matters, mate. I mean, Mark and Jacob, how nice is it with no Alan tonight? Isn't it better with no Alan on tonight?
And is he dining out at a Holiday Inn or something? Holiday Inn. I'm thinking, yeah, go for it, buddy. He's splash out. He's living the dream.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's very, very highly missed as always, Alan. But we'll get started, Mark. I'm not going to start on the Brentford game just yet because if my WhatsApp doesn't lie to me, you was very unhappy last weekend with a certain suspended game. How do you feel about it now with all the Burnley stuff?
Yeah, look, I think on day there were so many conspiracy theories people were going through, weren't they? Underheated, I was even looking on, and they do have one. And then people were saying they only switched it on at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then it came out that they switched it on the Wednesday, and it seemed like a Michael Fish moment. Like they didn't know it was going to snow, although it was forecasted. Look, after Conte came out, even Conte came out and said it was the right decision. So, I think from what I heard on the Sunday afternoon, they went back to London and he actually got them out training again, or he did double training on Monday. So, look, I think we're going to have to play them. We're going to play them in January or February, and hopefully by then we will have a few more players. So maybe it will work out for us, and maybe these extra few days have given the lads a bit more time in the training. And listen, if anything goes by, we won last night, so you can't say it was the wrong decision. But yeah, it's a bit of a farce when in 2021 at a Premier League we can't play a game with a flurry of snow after an hour or hour and a half. Do you know what I mean? You saw Man City and you saw Leicester. They happened to get theirs on, and Man City really snowed, didn't it? Just as halftime was coming. So yeah, I think we got to do better. I'm surprised the Premier League didn't come out and say something, but it is what it is,
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, do you see it? Do you think it benefited the boys to have that extra time with Conte after the cancellation?
Yeah, I think it benefited the boys as well as the fans, because I think most Tottenham fans that you saw online and stuff, including myself, weren't feeling too great about Burnley. You thought it's going to be a cold, Sunday afternoon at Burnley. I didn't think we were going to win the game, but it's one of them ones. Tottenham ain't going to coast through that the form that we're in, especially after what happened last Thursday. So I think it was good for both parties, the fans and the whole club in general, just to have that weekend where we could gather our thoughts. And I think that's what they did as well, because judging by what I saw in the extended highlights, it wasn't the finished article, but there's a lot more of an improvement in performance than what we've had in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Darren, welcome onto the show. Now, I'm going to ask you, obviously, we haven't heard your thoughts in person. We've probably read them on Twitter, but how did you feel after the Conte appointment?
After the Conte appointment, oh, I'm gassed. Oh my goodness gracious me. Oh my word. Listen, he has been my first choice of manager since about 2016. Because when I remember, right, when he came to Chelsea, Chelsea were 10th, changed it to 3 at the back. They went on the dirtiest run and won the league. And I said, this guy, like, I just thought he was just like a tactical genius. I just loved him from then. And he's only gone upwards since then. The only thing he hasn't really done is won much in Europe. And I always said, I'd love a manager like that at Tottenham. When we went for him the first time in the summer, right? And it seemed so close, and then he just kind of did a U-turn. I actually had a tear in my eye, and I said, you know what? I'm done with Tottenham for the summer. I just watched the Euros. Didn't think about Tottenham. Didn't put because I just said, you know what? I just felt like we had no ambition. I said, he's right there, top elite manager to provide the elite mentality for Spurs, and we couldn't get it over the line. And then we ended up getting Nuno. I just had no expectations, and I said I'd get behind Nuno, but it obviously never worked out because I was never an advocate for Nuno in the first place. For years, people have asked me, and I've said no to Nuno for Tottenham. So when we actually got Conte over the line, I was so happy. I'm so happy. You'll see it on my Twitter. It says Conte's Army. That's what it says. So that's
definitely, yeah. We cannot blame you. I think everyone, as soon as the appointment was made, this panel, our WhatsApp chat was a bit non-stop for that way when we appointed him. But speaking of the panel, we've got one in the comments. Cursed. This shirt, I don't want to put a date on it. I don't know if it was maybe 16, 17, 17, 18, something like that. I'm not too sure. But don't worry, we'll let you off for not coming on tonight if you're around your parents' house, which is also very
well, we got Kirsty on. We should ask her to, she does some lovely drawings. Let her draw us. Come on, Kirsty. I want to see. I want to see a picture of us. You do the football. Now you need to draw us, girl. Anyway.
We'll wait for Alan to come on with that, with some of his facial expressions that he gives us. Then he can do the drawing.
That would be difficult.
But Mark, 2-0, home win, clean sheet as well to boot. How did you feel with that game?
Look, I think there were some bright moments. I think there was some great play. I called it last week. Young Skippy for me, I think he's going to be a revelation. And I think under Conte, I think he's the perfect player for Conte. And I think he's the perfect manager. Conte is for him. He's young. He's 21. I think we've heard a few managers say he's going to be one day he's going to be Tottenham's captain. So I thought he played really well. Like I said, that second goal was just typical Tottenham counter-attacking. It was just beautiful to watch. And that could have been Liverpool and they wouldn't have been able to stand up against us. It was just 1, 2, 3, boom, goal. I still think we look a little bit raggedy at the back. I think Sanchez was still a bit rickety, which scares me a little bit. And I don't know about you guys, but when he brought Winks on, you saw my message. I didn't know, and you even messaged me saying, "Mark, trust in Conte." And I was like that Home Alone expression. It was like Winks. I didn't think I would ever see Winks again. But you know what? If he did that to Victor Moses, maybe he can turn Harry Winks into the next diamond. I don't know. You never know. But overall, I think it was an okay performance. I think somebody mentioned it. It was a professional performance. So I think we got the job done. There was kind of sparks. We're spending more time with Conte now. And we got some nice fixtures coming up. So long may that continue.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, how did you feel about it? I think reading today, I think we restricted Brentford to the least amount of shots they've had on goal and their attacking threat that they've got. Everyone knows Brentford. They don't fear any team. They're new to the league. They play with no fear. They'll attack you. I mean, if I remember rightly, didn't they draw 3-3 with Liverpool this season? I mean, they're not bothered about Tottenham. They're not bothered about the name. So, how did you see? How did you think about the game from a defensive point of view?
Yeah, defensively, like I said, Sanchez is always going to be a concern. You know, as soon as I see him in lineups, I just all of a sudden I panic, and we ain't even started the game yet. It's like you know, when we were playing Burnley the other day, I looked at the lineup. As soon as I saw Sanchez, I had my head in my hands, and then half hour later, I find out that it's cancelled through snow. So I was actually quite happy it got cancelled because I wasn't happy with someone like Sanchez playing with the forwards that they've got. But you know, at least we kept the clean sheet. It's improving slowly. I don't think you're ever going to get good football out of the players that we've got. You know, you're going to have players like Kane, Son, and Lucas that are capable of scoring goals, but we haven't got anybody in their midfield areas that's going to create constantly like we had with Eriksen. You know, Ollie Skip did all right in the game from what I saw. There was a chance that he put through for Kane. I didn't know he had that sort of pass in him. So that was nice to see. But again, you're not going to rely on Skippy to give you sort of 5-10 assists a season. I don't think there's anybody in the team that looks like they're going to get 10 assists. You know, you look at Mo Salah, for instance, he's got 8 already. I don't look at anybody in the team and see that they're going to pull off 8. Harry Kane's capable of that, but he's supposed to be assisted 4, not assisting. So it was good. You know, we kept a clean sheet. Brentford, I was worried about. You know, I did think we were going to get a negative result there, but because we got the clean sheet and scored the 2 goals, it's improvement. And it's nice to see that even though Harry Kane isn't scoring, we've got other people that are at least trying to chip in and get the goals. You know, Son obviously scores a lot of goals anyway, but then as much as it wasn't Ben Davies's goal, I'll still give it to him because at least he tried to get in there and get the goal for us. So I can't complain. I can obviously you want more goals, but you know 2-0 Brentford is professional, and it's about at the minute. It's about just getting the points on the board. I don't care if we played crap yesterday and won 2-0 because that win, you know, when you look to the table when I got home from football, you looked in for, well, if we were to play Burnley tomorrow and beat them, we go 4th. So it's one of those, you know, West Ham, Arsenal, they've all been giving it for most of the season. We've been playing probably the worst loss in Spurs in the last sort of 8 years. And if we win our game and then we go above them. But then they're the form teams in the side, in the league, sorry.
That's just West Ham and Arsenal fans for you, Jacob. I mean, before I go to Darren, I've just had obviously the bottom of my screen. I've obviously got all 4 of us at the bottom, so I can bring you in, remove you. For some reason, I just had an Alan R. Clark in the bottom. They look very drunk, very, very happy at the bottom of the screen, as if he was waiting to jump in. But I can't have you on, Alan. Not in that state that you looked. So we'll move on with the show. Oh dear, Darren, was there any standout plays for you against Brentford? Anyone caught your eye?
Well, I'm just going to be boring. I'm going to say Oliver Skip. Best game I've seen him have. Ben Davies, left-sided centre back. He seems much more comfortable in that position. I must say. I've never seen him as a marauding wing back. Defensively, he's okay, but he seems to be, you know. But as a left back, I think he's done as a left back. To be honest with you, I thought that for a while. But as a left-sided centre back, the experience and the maturity showed, and he showed that he was one of the more senior members of the squad who could be called upon to do a job yesterday. Long may it continue, because he stunk out the place much more than he's had, you know, great performances. But again, under the coach that we have, like it's like he can. I trust him with most of them, except Sanchez. Except Sanchez. I defended that guy for way too long. I defended him for way too long. I just want to add very quickly that against Enes Mura, it was criminal what he did, and I cannot trust that. I cannot trust him again. I personally think Joe Rodon should start over him because I like Joe Rodon. I don't really know why he doesn't start, but again, we have to trust Conte and trust the process.
Darren, did you hear what Conte said today, though? He said he likes Joe Rodon. He said he likes Joe Rodon, but every player he's got has got a certain position. And Joe Rodon and Eric Dyer, that's the position he sees Joe Rodon. So as long as Eric Dyer's playing, Joe Rodon has to play second fiddle, but he likes him. He thinks he's a strong player, but he doesn't see him on the right and he doesn't see him on the left. He sees him as the center.
In the center.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
who do you think should start then? Because I would. I mean, I know Eric Dyer is having a great. Is having a not a great. Is having a good season for Eric Dyer by Eric Dyer standards.
Yeah. I think he's been one of our better players if this season. To be fair,
he has. But I really do like Joe Rodon, you know, and I really.
I do.
I mean, when you see him play for Wales, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like he's brilliant, and I think to myself, he could really add something to the team. It's a weird one. I'd like to see him partner up with Romero, but obviously Romero's injured.
And that's what I think you'll see when Romero comes back on the games where Dyer can't play because those fixtures, and that's where I see him. If Dyer plays, he won't play. If he doesn't play, then if Dyer doesn't play, then I think Rodon plays. I think that's where he sees him, and it was quite interesting to listen to him this afternoon. He really likes him.
Yeah, I never heard it, right? I never heard it because I've been out all day. So I'll probably try and run it back.
Yeah, have a listen. It's quite interesting. What I like about Conte in his interviews, he's not like some of the other men. They kind of wishy-washy. Did you see Nuno? He didn't really give much. He wasn't inspiring. But Conte tells it as it is, you know, we didn't play well or we played well or, you know, we've got to improve, you know. If they don't run, I kill them. You know, he's passionate. And even on the line last night, did you see him marauding, shouting, screaming, running up? That's what I
right
want
up to the last minute. Right up to the last minute. Some passion, some desire. My only fear, right, is that they're gonna raid the transfer market in January, him and Paratici. And I think if they're gonna get somebody, they're looking for a couple of centre backs from what I hear. So I do wonder if it's like, you know, Joe Rodon is done at Spurs, because I've also heard he wants to go on loan in January, which he should do. He deserves to play regularly. So it's a shame. I feel like we wasted an opportunity to create a really great centre back there. I really do, and we persisted too long with Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah, for me, but I don't think they'll get two centre backs in January. I think they'll bring one, and I think it'll be more the left-sided one. So I think Joe Rodon will stay because I think, you know, injuries and everything. He wants to create two really strong candidates, and the same as Tanganga. You know, he still hasn't found the right position for Tanganga. You know, he doesn't know if he's a right centre back or if he's a wing back. You know. I heard a shout the other day, somebody talking about, putting Mora in as a right wing back, and then bringing bringing Bergwijn in as a right wing back. And I was like, why would you bring him in? You know, it just, So it'd be interesting January, I think.
Well, let me ask you, Mark, I'll stick with you on this because he clearly wants two players to each position. Like you say, Dyer with Rodon, he's got Emerson, and as much as we dislike it, Matt Doherty, who's still there. Reguilon and Sessegnon at left wing backs. You've got Højbjerg, Skip, who winks, and I don't think there's any other midfielder he trusts because he don't play in Ndombele. I don't think anyone trusts Dele Alli anymore. But obviously, Mark, you mentioned about the interview today about Rodon. What do you think about the interview where he's talking about Steven Bergwijn becoming the second striker on the Hurricane this year?
He's also got to play the game as well, Conte, hasn't he? You know, he can't just come out and say, "Oh no, he's crap." You know, we've still got 4 weeks till January. You know, or is it 4 weeks? No, it's even less now. What is it? 27 days or 26 days until the 1st of January or something. So, you know, it's a lifetime in football. I think we've got 7 or 8 games till then. So we could have injuries. So he's got to be careful what he says. But maybe he does like Bergwijn. Maybe he has seen something in training. But whichever position he thinks he fits, he doesn't come in before like a Kane or a Sonny. So if one of these guys get injured or one of them that he has to replace, that's when he'll play. Like, look at last night. He took off Mora and brought on Bergwijn, didn't he? Or did he take off Mora and bring on Winks, and then he took off somebody else and brought on Bergwijn? Because I was quite surprised in bringing on Winks, number one. I honestly thought he'd bring on Tanguy, especially going 2-0 up and everything. I thought we'd get a little bit because I'll still say it here. Although we played a little bit better, did you see our control of the ball sometimes and our passing? It is, it's criminal at that kind of amount of money that these people earn. It was just, even when Winks came on, he lost the ball 3 times. And one of them was right at the back there. So we've got to get that right. But I'm liking our dead ball set pieces. I think we seemed a little bit better. Yesterday we seemed to have a plan. I love the old bouncing the ball once and then bouncing the ball twice and all that kind of thing from corners. I thought, he seems to have a plan. Conte does. So, yeah, I think so. I think it's looking positive.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob. Go on, Darren. Sorry, mate. After you.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, just regarding the sort of the dead ball and the set piece situations. I mean, we're getting better, but it's criminal that we've not signed somebody to replace Christian Eriksen ever since he's gone. And it's criminal that we've not signed somebody to a set piece specialist. Because Son is okay. He's functional at set pieces, but he's not the answer. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, absolutely.
He's not the answer. And we've got nobody to take free kicks. Harry Kane still seems to insist on taking them. It's just, he doesn't score ever. Like, stop putting him on.
He doesn't even get him on target.
No, never. It's always over the bar, and it frustrates me.
He scored one from a deflection.
Yeah, that was when he was like...
Yeah, he scored the one, but it was going to go wide, but it hit the defender.
That was years ago, wasn't it?
That was years ago.
Yeah. It was ages ago. Yeah, ages ago. Yeah.
This man's had like 15 plus since then, right? Yeah. And I just think we've had about how many? He's pushing 70 corners without scoring. And I think, I know Conte's working on it, but he's working with the best of a bad bunch. Do you understand when it comes to set pieces? Yeah. So I really do think we need to be signing a playmaker / set piece taker, an all-rounder in hopefully in January, but I don't, it's probably going to be more likely to be in the summer because it's a position that needs addressing. It irks me, that set piece debacle, because at the end of the day, like, you're watching, look at say James Maddison right now, right? Look at Leicester, look at James Ward-Prowse at Southampton. Look at how many can take set pieces in Man City. Look at Trent at Liverpool. Do you understand? It's criminal that in this day, right now in the Premier League, we haven't got somebody who can actually take good set pieces. And I know that we scored from one on yesterday, but I don't want to give it too much credence because I don't know when the next one's going to be scored. If we can do it on a regular basis, then I'll be happy. But it just seemed like a one-off. Like one of them had to go in at some point. You know what I memean?
And it's not only just set pieces for me; it's also crossing. There's some games when they cross, they just, it's like Emerson Royale. I like him and I think he'll get better. But sometimes the crossing, Reguilon, he had a good game yesterday. But before that, some of his crossing is just woeful, and that's what wing backs are there for. You talk about Trent Alexander. My God, who's the other one that plays on the, so Trent is on the right. Who plays on the left?
Robertson's on the left.
Robertson. Yeah. These guys, they put it on your nut. You don't have to move. Yeah. Like what that ball that Reguilon did for the second goal last night. Sonny didn't have to do anything, really.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see them do all the time. That's crossing. And you're right. I think, and we've debated it on this show, the two players they haven't really replaced over the last 5 years is Moussa Dembele and Christian Eriksen. Those two players.
On a free, boys.
Well, yeah. If we could get anything between those two kind of people in our midfield, we'll be laughing.
Yeah. Look at Daniel. Imagine telling Daniel Levy that Eriksen's just cancelled his contract with Inter. He'd probably look into it,
Knowing
We're all complaining about Eriksen. We can go and get him for free right now.
I was asked this question on Coys.com podcast if I'd have Ericsson back, but no, that's a simple no for me. It's a
Too
simple.
dangerous.
That's what I mean. It's not, I would rather him. I love that he's trying to get back in football, but I'd rather him retire now, stay healthy, live his life,
be safe.
Yeah,
be safe. Yeah,
I'd bring him back in the coaching, and maybe take on some of the youngsters, like some of our under 18s and 23s, and put his footballing brain, because that's what he's got. He's got a foot. We've got guys with skill, but he's actually got a footballing brain. He sees, like a Glenn Hoddle, he sees things 10 feet ahead of what the play is going to be. And those guys are far and few between. And if he's not going to play again, bring him back into the coaching where he can use his talent that he's got, like a Ryan Mason. His career ended early, and he seems to be learning from the things, and he seems to be doing okay. Bring him in and let them learn from him. That's what I say.
Definitely.
But would you bring him in as a set piece coach? Loads of teams have got them. Like most teams have got bloody throwing coaches. Would you not ask him to come in as a set piece coach and actually do 2-3 hours with these players on corners, on free kicks, just on set pieces?
But the thing is, the Tottenham fans would probably moan about it, because how many times did Ericsson was our most key player, and they complained that he never beat the first man on corners? I used to tell all my friends, just shut up, man. Like, you can't be on the corner, but when you don't play, we don't create nothing. So
I was one of those. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I was one of those guys. I can't even front. I can't even front. I was one of those guys.
It's just, I'm not going to keep going on about it when he's top of the assist in the Premier League.
How many times we get a corner, we all sit there watching, not getting excited, thinking we're never going to score. We won't score. But when there's a corner against us, how nervous are we going? Oh God, here we go. Oh God, here we go. Because we're not good at defending set pieces. Scoring goals from open play has always been our forte. But like you say, corners and everything, and our biggest goal scorers from corners was always Alderweireld and people like that. And we don't have them anymore.
That's why I thought, we were probably, I've thought for most of the season we were going to lose to Brentford when we first got them. So I was pleasantly surprised last night, because if you look at Brentford, I mean, I went to watch them pre-season versus Valencia, and I watched them, and I watched the likes of Ethan Pinnock and Pontus Jansson, and I can never remember. There's another tall centre back that they have as well, but their remit is to have centre backs that are at least 6'3", 6'4", because they look what they did to Arsenal, right? Look what they did to Arsenal. In terms of like their winning goal, for instance, it was a long throw, and then it just bundled in. They do that a lot. They're quite versatile at Brentford in terms of, they got Ivan Toney. He's good on the ground, battering ram as well in the air. Sanchez did struggle against him a couple of times, I will say that. You've got Canos, you've got Frank Onyeka, you've got Rico Henry, you've got Brian and Buemo. So they're good. They play it along the floor as well. They're a team that's very well organized and are very multi-dimensional. And I thought we would struggle against a team like that. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised that we were able to beat them, and beat them what I felt was quite comfortably. I was never ever nervous. For that whole game, not at all. And that's the first time I could tell you for probably about 2 seasons where I've not been that nervous for a game. Honestly, when did we play Marine? I wasn't nervous for that, but that's about it.
Yeah, I was more nervous. I wasn't nervous because they looked threatening. I was more nervous the way we lost the ball. When we were in possession and we were trying to pass, and we were, just stupid passes, and we were losing the ball in silly areas where they could come and attack us. And I think that's where Skippy, and rightly so, was man of the match. I thought Dyer played extremely well, but I thought Skippy deserved his man of the match. Because look at those 2 breakaways from where we were taking corners, and like they caught us napping, didn't they? Except for Skippy getting back and Batcher, really chasing them and taking them out. So I wasn't nervous because they didn't seem to penetrate us. I thought Kane, Sonny, and Lucas, I thought they pressed really high up, didn't they? I thought they, for the first time in a long time, and I know Kane didn't get on the scoring sheet, but what a beautiful pass for that second goal,
Yeah, Reguilon, yeah.
I'll be honest with you, last season and the season before, when he went through there, I would have put my house on it for him scoring, the one that the goalkeeper saved.
Yeah.
I would have put my house on that. There's no chance he's missing that. And it's just, I think he's, forget the whole City debacle now. I think that's gone. I think, now that Conte's in, I think he's just low on confidence now. Now he just needs a couple of goals to get that back. And I think did you see Conte? There was a break somewhere and Conte called him over and he was chatting,
he was talking to him. Yeah.
And you could see Kane was like, yeah. He was listening. So I got a funny feeling the two of them, I think you're going to see a reignition in Kane again. I think it's going to become exciting. Even Kane and Sonny, you could see the smiling between the two of them. There was a few games where they didn't seem interested, where they weren't clicking together. And there seems to be that chemistry back again. Yeah, no, I think give it more time and you'll see. My only worry is that when we get going to, when do we have Liverpool and West Ham? In about 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, that's 22nd.
West Ham and Leicester.
Is it 19th and 22nd? I'm just hoping we're ready for then. Because that's where I think, I think that's where, I'll walk away with a 1-1 draw against Liverpool and a sneaky win against West Ham. I'll be happy.
Well, unfortunately, we've got Liverpool just before the African Cup of Nations where they lose Salah and Mane, and then just after when they return. That is Spurs there.
That's Tottenham. That is so
bollocks, isn't it? I was speaking about that with my cousin a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him when did they go, when did they come back. So I was being a cheeky yid, and when he told me the dates, I just started laughing at him, saying that's so convenient, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That is Tottenham. That is Tottenham through and through. Jacob, talk to me about Reguilon. I mean, the I don't know if any of you follow the Twitter page, the Premier League panel. They do a lot of player assessments and formations. They're a brilliant channel to follow. The stuff they talk about, you really take notice. And he or she, I don't know who's behind the channel, so he or she on that channel, we're talking about Reguilon under Conte and already showing the similarities that Hakimi shown at Inter under Conte, bombing forward, getting more involved in attacks, obviously with the security behind him and Davis at left centre-back. How do you think his season will go, Jacob? Do you think we'll see more goals and assists from him this year?
Yeah, I think Reguilon's just like Spurs in whole, like in the last couple of weeks. He's just improving. He's not the finished article, but you do see improvements because I was quite critical of him, especially last season, because he used to be quite clumsy in possession. We'd win the ball quite easily and he'd just go and give it back. There was times where it's pretty obvious that the right winger was there to be marked, and you look at Reguilon and just think, well, what was you looking at? And then they're being through on goal. So, but this season, you don't really want to rely on him defending. Of course, you want the whole 11 to defend, but he's somebody that you like going forward because he is pretty quick, and his crossing when he's on point is pretty decent. So, I think he'll have a good season. I'll see the comparisons with Hakimi. Hakimi's definitely a better player, but again, he was just a raw diamond at Real Madrid, and then he got loaned out to Dortmund, and then improved slowly, and then he went to Inter Milan, and under Conte became the finished article. So there's no reason why Reguilon can't do it as well. It's like you said, it's a steady progress, and like Darren alluded to, we've just got to be patient. It's hard because when you get a manager like Conte, you seem to think that, subconsciously you think that 2-3 games in, Conte's going to put his stamp on him. We're going to turn into Inter Milan, or we're going to turn into Chelsea. It's not like that. So he needs a couple of windows. And again, there's players that need to take on board what he wants. And I think Reguilon, along with a couple of others like Skippy, have pretty much picked that up straight away. So hopefully it continues into next week. We've got another game which is similar, but Yeah, Reguilon's probably been one of our most consistent performers this season and probably goes under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I'll stick with you, Jacob, because I want you to give me your thoughts on the other wing back, Emerson. Obviously, still brand new to the league, brand new to the country, still trying to learn English. How do you think he started? Do you think he's a bit? Still think he's a bit in his shell a bit? Do you think he's not? He don't want to make these mistakes. He don't want to take a risk quite yet.
Yeah, I think he's one of those. He's just a steady Eddie, isn't he? You know, for me, every club needs one of those. You know, United, when they used to smash it with Fergie, they had a John O'Shea, someone that was just steady, you know, come in and fill in positions and stuff. And I'm not saying that Emerson's going to go all around the place, but he just comes across like one of those players that's always going to give you a 7 out of 10. I think the one thing he lacks is not going forward, but when he gets forward, what he's going to do there. Because, you know, Liverpool got players like Trent, you've got players like Reece James. When they're getting in them positions, they're either delivering properly or they're scoring. You know, Reece James is up there scoring more goals than Harry Kane at the minute, and he's playing in the same position, in the same formation. So we can't expect, obviously, Emerson Royal to do that because Reece James that's natural to him, and Emerson's probably a bit more steady defensively. But I just think he needs to improve on going forward, which is difficult because the hardest thing to do in football is, you know, attack and score goals. And if he hasn't got the attacking in him, I'm happy for him to be a steady wing back. But if he can't deliver on the attacking side, then we need to go and probably get into the market, get rid of Matt Doherty and find another player that, you know, if we're going to be playing at Brentford and Norwich at home, somebody that's going to play right wing back along with Reggie on the other side and be delivering.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Lamptey.
Lamptey, yeah.
Good shout.
Perfect. He'd be perfect.
Yeah. Good shout. I'm surprised we went in for him last season.
Yeah,
I think because he was injured for a while. I think that's. I'll say that scuppered it. No, it didn't scupper it. It's because our recruitment was crap as per usual. They didn't spot it as per usual. Can I? Sorry, have you finished, Jacob? I just wanted to say something about Royal as well.
Darren, sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, honestly, I don't, but let me just look at this sod here, look. Oh, God.
What a brat. He's trying to make it out like the party's so great, but he's logged into a podcast.
Oh, God.
You wouldn't see me.
Sorry to cut you up, Darren. Continue, mate.
No problem. I think with Emerson Royal, for me, the jury's still out on him. He looks functional. It's basically what you're saying, Jacob. 7 out of 10. He's functional. But I've seen him get flogged twice by wingers. I mean, his first game, he got flogged by Zaha. Zaha ran him ragged. But it's Wilfred Zaha, and it was his first game. So I don't want to be too harsh. But I also saw him get done by Jack Harrison against Leeds as well for Dan James's first goal. And Jack Harrison was giving him problems. Again, I don't want to be overly harsh on him because you're taking time to adapt to the league. You've got to hit the ground running. You know, I'm gonna give him at least till the end of the season. But you know, for me, what we needed was somebody who could hit the ground running. We haven't had a good right back since Kyle Walker. I personally think we should have kept Kyle Walker-Peters, even if it was as a backup. But you know, right now we could do with somebody who can, you know, bomb down the right hand side and at least provide some decent, because he can cross. He's not a bad crosser. He's not the worst crosser as Walker-Peters. I mean, I know a lot of Spurs fans will disagree with me, but I always rated him. He's not going to set the world. Yeah, he's not going to set the world alight. But compared to what we've had so far, like, why did we sell him? Do you know what I mean? Again, I think Lamptey's perfect for what we're trying to do, or for what Conte's trying to do. Absolutely perfect. Yes, he's short, but my goodness gracious me, I've been watching a few Brighton highlights since he's come back, and I mean, his crossing's on point. He beats players. He doesn't just run into players like, say, Lucas Moura does. He's got a footballing brain about him, and I think, you know, we'll miss a trick if we don't go in for him. But because Royal was there, I'm not. I think we might have missed that. To be honest with you, actually, when I think about it, I think we might have missed that, which is a shame personally.
Yeah,
You don't think Chelsea have got some sort of, but you know what Chelsea are like when they get rid of their players? They've always got something in a contract to say, oh, well, if we want him back.
Yeah, but Reece James is there, so why would you want him back? Do you know what I mean?
Because Tottenham are about to buy him.
Yeah. Well,
Chelsea are just going buy him back just because so we can't get him.
Just chuck him in the under 23s or something dumb like that. Yeah, that is typical Chelsea. But, you know.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. Carry on.
No. I'm done.
Well, I expect a long answer here off you, Darren, because we've all had our say on Harry Kane pre-Euros, the summer, everything like that. So this is your time now, Darren. You give us your exact thoughts on Harry Kane from the summer to this season to everything.
All right. Well, the thing is, what I won't diss Harry Kane, because if you see me on Twitter, I'm the Harry Kane defender. I am Harry Kane's, I won't say his number one fan, but I'm a Harry Kane fan. However, I'm a realist and I'm for the team. Like this season, he's completely underperformed. In terms of goal scoring, his head was down due to the City move. The whole not turning up for training, what was it, for 2 weeks? Like, come on, son, don't do that, right? Because number one, he signed a 6-year deal. He has 3 years left on that 6-year deal. What did you expect? Why did you sign a 6-year? Why didn't you sign a 3-year or a 4-year? You're Harry Kane. You're in top form. You could pick, choose, or refuse what you wanted to sign, and you chose to sign a 6-year deal. Do you know what? I felt that it's Daniel Levy at the end of the day. He was going to go for top dollar for Harry Kane, and I always said he's worth about 150, and that's what he went for. City's offers were derisory, 75 million plus 25 add-ons. What did he think was going to happen? A gentleman's agreement may be enforceable in court, but you have to prove it. And I'm fairly sure that Harry Kane and his brother, his agent, couldn't prove it. So you just had to go and play. Because at the end of the day, you put pen to paper. So I don't feel sorry for him in any way, shape, or form. I don't. You've got to be professional and play. And if you want to go, if you still want to go, you got to play your way to that. Because at the end of the day, Haaland's gonna be it. Haaland's still out there. City can afford Haaland, right? They may go for the younger option. So you need to be proven to them that you're still valuable, like to them. Do you know what I mean? That's what I say with him. You know, he had a great Euro. Well, he had good Euros. He's banging for England. Admittedly, we've been dross all season, so he hasn't had the service, and he still needs the service as far as I'm concerned. But it's he needs to just get his head back in the game. I think Conte's the man to bring his head back into the game, and we started to see the green shoots of recovery last night, because he didn't have a bad game last night at all. He had a decent game, but he just needs to, you know, get in the box and score them goals. He was just unfortunate yesterday. So, like I said, I won't diss him because he's done so much for us, but he needs to pull his finger out now. One Premier League goal is just not enough. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. But I don't want to. You know, he's been a great servant for the club. He deserves a move. But you signed a 6-year deal, so you obviously don't think you deserved it that much by signing a 6-year deal. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was bad as well that we signed up. Remember when we signed Vinicius Junior to back him up?
Yeah.
Have you seen he's smashing up the Dutch league?
Oh, is he?
I think I don't know. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on it, but I think he's the top goal scorer for PSV.
Yeah,
again,
in the Dutch league. I think it's only Sebastian Haller that scored more goals.
Vincent Janssen.
I rated him.
Well. Vincent Janssen blew up that league as well, and look how that turned out.
No, Vinicius is a baller, man. Vinicius. You know what I did? I watched all of his goals before he came to Spurs, or when he was coming to Spurs. I watched all of his goals. Where was he? Lyon or Lille? In France. But for them and PSV, and I watched. He had different types of finishes. He had pace. He had some real sauce, man. And I thought he could have done something with Tottenham, but
Wasn't he at
it was just the wrong
Benfica?
time. That was it. Yeah, that was it. Sorry,
The
my bad.
Portuguese league. Yeah, Portuguese.
Benfica. Yeah, he was top. Wasn't he top scorer in the league?
Yeah.
My bad, Benfica. Sorry. And he was smashing in the goals. Like, I rated him. And I thought he could do some stuff at Spurs, but he just wasn't really getting the starts. I know this is gonna sound mad, but it was against Marine, I know. But you see the finishing, like the little chips and what have you. He had some sauce about him. Of course he was gonna come. I felt he was gonna come to Spurs and do stuff, but like this season, we could really have done with him now. That's what I think.
Yeah.
He was under Mourinho's stewardship, so it's like you said, if all those goals that he was scoring were, with his pace and his dynamism sort of thing, Mourinho's football weren't going to allow you to perform that way, because it's just you have to sit in and take your chance when you can. Like, if you remember when we played Arsenal 2-0, I remember saying to myself at the end of the game that we beat Arsenal 2-0, and I was still like, yeah, we beat them, but that was crap. Because it was a crap game to watch, but we just took our chances. So I don't think a player like him was going to suit. Like, if we had if he's under Conte, he'd probably be perfect for him. But such is life.
Yeah, one season too early.
Too
early. We signed him for. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, how did you see Kane yesterday? Obviously, I know Conte said again today about Harry Kane is happy with his form, but the team have got to now create chances for him to finish them. So do you see him playing further forward for us, or do you still see him coming a bit too deep for the ball?
Me, I between you and I think he's still going to get 24 goals this season. My heart's telling me, my head's telling me he'll get. He's going to go on a run. He will come good. I'm absolutely sure of it, because class is permanent, isn't it? Form is just temporary. So it's going to just be one of these games, and I revert back to those that enjoy cricket and like cricket. A batsman will go out all the time until he scores his next 100, and when he does, then he's on a roll. So I truly believe he will. Last night, I thought he was better. I thought it was one of his better performances. Still not great. Still hasn't got his shooting boots on. But, like Conte said, Kane will come good. He will score. But at the end of the day, if we're winning 2-3, 4-0, whatever we're winning, whether Kane scores, whether Lloris scores, we're winning the games and we're scoring. If we're winning and our world-class striker's not scoring, just think how lethal we're going to be when he does come good. Because he will come good at some stage under Conte. He will. There's just no, it might not be Sunday, it might not be next week, but he will come good. And when he does, and if we are winning games without him, we've sat here for seasons upon seasons, I'm sure we have, and we've all said, oh God, where the goal's going to come from if it doesn't come from Kane or Son? Where the goal's going to come from? We will never score. Now we're scoring without Kane, so when Kane does come good, I thought last night he played a bit better. I'm not going to go over. I still thought there were some sloppy passes. He lost the ball in a few areas, like everybody did. But I liked his tracking. I liked his desire. I thought him, Sonny, and Mora, they pushed really high up, and they didn't really. And Brentford's a physical team, aren't they? And they like to press. And I don't think up front we gave them a lot. Did you notice how quickly they had to pass back to their goalkeeper? They just couldn't get out. And their goalkeepers, he's a great shot stopper, but he's not good with his feet. And they kind of exploited that. So I thought he was quite good with that. They all pressed really high. So I thought better than he's normally played. And I felt there was desire there, and that's what we need from Harry Kane, when there's a little bit more desire, when he wants to be there. The one thing I will say out of the game, and obviously I watched it on TV, and I don't know if you guys felt it, and I heard it somewhere. I'm not too sure if it was Talk Sport or something, but I thought the crowd were quite subdued last night. There was times where they were singing, and then there was times where they were kind of subdued. And like Conte's always said, the crowd, they need to be our 12th man. We need to make that a fortress, don't we? Our home ground has to be our fortress, like the old White Hart Lane, when we went on a run where we didn't lose a game for 18 games, 19 games at White Hart Lane.
The whole season. It was the whole season, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we need to do. So we need to make, and that's going to be where our 12th man. And so I just think the crowd now, and you would have thought they would have got, and I just love the passion from Conte. So long may that continue.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with you, Mark, for the next game. Norwich, obviously, under new management, Dean Smith, I think they're unbeaten in his first 2 games. Obviously, just drawn with Newcastle. Relegation battle already, you can say that. It's no disrespect to Norwich, but they are in an early season relegation battle. Is this game going to be more difficult than some fans probably think?
No, I don't think so. I think the way Conte lays them out and everything, I think I read somewhere they got Todd Cantwell back. I think he's half decent. And the one I fear more is Pookie, because I think he can make something out of nothing. I've seen him score some spectacular goals. I think he just scored a spectacular goal. The equalizer, didn't he? Was that against Newcastle? Yeah. So he can score goals. So I think we keep him under control, and I think we cruise. He's my only one. I don't see anything. Who's their goalkeeper? Is it Krul?
Yeah. He always has blinders against Tottenham.
He's our bogey goalkeeper, isn't he? Tim Krul. He is our bogey goalkeeper. When we play any team that he's in, he has worldies, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not too worried about Norwich. I think being home, I think coming off Thursday, I don't know how he's going to. I know how he's going to set up. I don't know who he's going to play. I don't know if he'll play the same team or if he'll rest a few players. Don't know. But my mind tells me he'll play the same team as he played on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, Mark
maybe Sanchez and Tanganga. Maybe those two will change.
Yeah. Do you see any changes to the lineup, Jacob? Any significant changes?
Yeah, I like what Mark just said. I hope that we swap Sanchez with Tanganga, because I think with Pookie's movement, if I was Timmy Pookie, I'd be leaning on Sanchez, thinking, if they'll get that chance to slip me through, especially with like a Todd Cantwell, Billy Gilmore, players like that. They've got quite a slick team. They won't pack you with a punch, but they do play good football. I watched them play Newcastle the other day, and fair enough, they were down to 10 men, but even when they had 11, they were playing some good football. You just thought the way they were playing football, if they had players like we've got, they would have smashed Newcastle to bits. So they do play relatively good football. I'd definitely have Tanganga in for Sanchez just to control that movement, because he's a lot quicker and more agile. Apart from that, I'd pretty much keep it the same. There's no one on the bench that I look at and think I need them on. Romero and Lo Celso are both out. Lo Celso, I wouldn't have him in the team anyway. Romero has got a long-term injury, so it's probably going to be a couple of weeks before he's back, and then another couple of weeks before he's ready. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not back until the Christmas fixtures. But yeah, in terms, I'd keep the lineup the same. I do feel that we'll beat Norwich, but I just feel if Norwich were going to get into the game and score a goal, let's say, I think it would be through our own undoing rather than Norwich, pulling our pants down.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Jacob, I have seen a Conte interview where he has said that Romero's out till end of January, February.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He's out for a couple of months.
Yeah. So, I mean, Darren, are you the same? Is it just Sanchez you would take out, or is there any other players?
Yeah, pretty much. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I would say. But Davinson Sanchez, I think, is going to be considered the weak link, and I think a striker as with as much guile and experience as Timo Pukki will exploit him. Sanchez isn't very strong for what he's supposed to be doing. He's not very strong. He's very flat-footed. So Timo Pukki, he's not the most mobile of strikers. Is Timo Pukki? He's getting slower. He's not fast, but I think he could still do Sanchez. Sanchez isn't that. I don't think he's that fast either. But I think Tanganga is very much more. He's more mobile. He's quicker. He's more tenacious. And I think he could handle him quite well personally. So, like as Mark said, and as Jacob pretty much said, is that you stop Pukki, and I think you'll probably stop Norwich. To be honest with you. If Todd Cantwell's coming back from injury, then maybe he may not be like fully match fit right now. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm not scared of Norwich. I think it's a comfortable 2-0 win for us. That's what I think.
Yeah, very good. I mean, Mark, before I get to your predictions, and obviously Jake, because obviously Alan has taken a healthy lead in our prediction chart. You got the 2-0 Brentford hang on. So he's got 3 points. He's at the top of the league in ours, and he's waiting that prize that comes at the end of the season, which I wouldn't want to give Alan personally, but I'd have to. I'd have to be a man of my word and give Alan the prize for the win. But something obviously not a part of Norwich, but the Hugo Lloris contract, Mark, that's still up for discussion. I mean, would you give him another year? Or another year or two? Because I don't think Galini's the answer for the replacement.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd look at signing him up for 2 years, and then looking at another replacement, bringing somebody in. I agree with you. I don't know if Galini will ever be our number one. I don't know if he's good enough. But saying that, we don't see enough of him. You know, it's like anything. You got to give people a run in games, don't you? You need to give him 10, 15, 20 games. But yeah, I'm quite surprised. In fact, today Conte talked about it, because that was one of the questions that came up today was, what about Lucas Moura? And the way Conte is talking, he's quite comfortable. And, you know, we're going to be talking about extending his contract, you know. So I think he's quite comfortable with it. And now that Conte's there, I think somebody like Hugo Lloris will want to be there. You know, he's the club captain. He's been there, 8 years now, 9 years. You know, another 2 years he gets his testimonial. So, you know, where's he going to go to win something? If he's going to win something, it's going to be with Spurs and Conte. So, yeah, I'd sign him up. Not 1 year. I'd go for 2 years, because I think he's a great shot stopper. You know, I really do. And I think he's been really good this season as well. You know, he hasn't been a poor keeper. So I think, yeah, I'd give him 2 more years.
Yeah, Jacob, are you the same? Are you just like myself and Mark? Do you think it's best to keep Lloris? I mean, I think he's been brilliant again for us this season. I thought he was great for us last season as well. Do you see it as beneficial to Tottenham to keep Lloris for another year or two and actually really scout the goalkeeping world for his replacement?
Yeah, I think we keep him, because I think a goalkeeper is the hardest position to get right sometimes. You know, let's imagine if Lloris did leave. You know, if Conte wants a keeper where we're going to win quickly, you'd have to look into the Premier League. You know, you don't really go abroad and get a keeper to get used to this league. You'd want somebody that's played in the Premier League. So if you're looking around, I've seen that we were linked with Jordan Pickford. Like, do you really want Jordan Pickford? But again, he's already ready in the Premier League, but he's not anywhere near Lloris, in my opinion. So it's one of those where I'd try my hardest to extend him for 2 years. Galini, like we've all said, I don't think he's going to be. He could be a number one. You never know, but he's not going to get the chances here at Spurs. So, you know, we can't send someone on loan. So effectively, we need to either look into what we've got in the reserves, you know, see if we've got any keepers there that we can get to learn, or we just find another keeper that's, you know, follow the model that what Chelsea have done beforehand, and even now, just have 2 solid world-class goalkeepers. There's no problem. You say to one keeper, play in the Premier League and play in the FA Cup, and the other one plays in the League Cup and hopefully Champions League, and then you've got 2 keepers that are both happy and, you know, supporting the cause. So I think Galini, if we're going to, I don't see him being a number one. So I think we should sign up the race and go and find somebody that's potential be a number one, because that's the sort of healthy competition that we need if we're going to be a big club like, you know, Liverpool, Man United, Man City. They've got 2 players in every position, let alone goalies. So I think we should start from there by signing the race and finding a decent goalie as well.
Yeah, Darren, are you the same? I mean, obviously, would you keep Lloris to begin with? Would you give him a new contract? Is there anybody that you think out there that you think, you know what, actually, yeah, I'd bring him in as Lloris is understudy, maybe in his last year, keep him in? And this is a 3-part question, Darren, so don't worry, you can take as long as you want on this. And would you, after he's finished, Lloris, would you have him back in a like a Petr Cech role that he's got at Chelsea. He seems very involved with that club. He was the main man who brought Edouard Mendy to Chelsea. Obviously, Mendy played for his former club, Cech's former club as well. So, would you keep him in after he's retired?
Definitely, I would keep him in after he's retired. You know, he goes down as a club legend. He's definitely one of the top 3 goalkeepers that we've ever had. And I think he'd be good for the club. However, I must admit, right, up until this season, I wouldn't say anti-Lloris, but I've been pushing for him to go for the last couple of seasons. I think the season after they won the World Cup, France won the World Cup, I felt his performance deteriorated. His kicking's always been suspect, but his shot stopping is top notch. But as we've gotten worse, right, I've kind of started to really see the value of him in our team right now. So I'd be inclined to give him, I'd maybe say a 1 year. And, you know, I think it's about time we did bring in an understudy for him. Because I do think as well, he would like to finish out his career at home. I don't know if he wants to finish his career at Tottenham, to be honest with you. But I wanted Donnarumma from long time. But obviously, well, PSG got him, but I thought we could have gone for him for a couple of years ago. He's young. He's a good quality goalkeeper. He could have been with us for a good amount of years, because what we do need is somebody who can kick a ball. Do you know what I mean? Who can. If you look at, say, like Ederson, can provide an assist from flipping from his own. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the new breed of goalkeeper, and Hugo Lloris for me is the last of the old guard. So we needed at least two seasons ago, maybe even 3. I'm not gonna lie, to be looking for somebody who's more of an all-rounder. So yeah, for me it was I always looked at Donnarumma, and I always thought, you know what, he would make a good keeper for us. But I don't really know anyone else. Just definitely not Jordan Pickford. I just don't think Jordan Pickford isn't as good as Hugo Lloris now, as far as I'm concerned. And Lloris is what, 34, 35? So I think Jordan Pickford is ceiling. He's not got the highest ceiling. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I am. That's where I am. Keeper for at least 1 more season. But it's about time we brought somebody, the new breed of keeper in, and somebody who's got great potential, or is already there. Spend the money and get somebody who's already like ready made. You know what I mean? There must be somebody out there in South America, in Africa, or in France. Because Mendy, nobody knew Mendy. But look at Mendy now, though. Do you know what I mean?
Well, let me.
It's all about recruitment. Yeah.
I don't know when his ban lifts. I don't know if it's lifted already. But Andre Onana from Ajax, is that someone you would look to bring in?
He's a decent keeper. He's a decent keeper. He had a mistake in him. He's got a mistake in him. His ban just got lifted. I think he played his first game in October. So he's just coming back now. But when I was looking at Onana before, because he's another one I was kind of looking at, like, he's good, but he's got a mistake in him. And what I think is we need somebody who's solid, man. Like, solid from the get-go. I don't want any grey areas when it comes to a keeper. You need the shot stopping of Lloris, and you need the kicking of you need the feet of an Ederson or an Alisson or somewhere close to that. You've got to have an all-rounder. I can't be dealing with squeaky bum time with keepers. We've done that for long enough.
Yeah, Mark, is there anyone who jumps off the page to you? Is there maybe Unai Simon? Obviously, the Spain #1. He's at Athletic Bilbao. He's someone you could probably look at getting, but is there anybody? I mean, I'm with Darren. If we get Jordan Pickford to replace Lloris, I'll be fuming. If he comes as his replacement. I mean, watching Liverpool Everton the other night is I mean, Salah's first goal, as good as a finish as it was, he practically put his arms out and put it in that corner. in that corner, well, I stood it. He is not the man to take you further in the league for fighting for trophies. Is there anyone for you, Mark, who just jumps off the page as Lloris for replacement?
Yeah, rather than Pickford, I'd rather go like somebody like Sam Johnson, or who's that keeper that plays for Villa now, Martinez. I'd rather take them than Pickford. Do you know what? No, and I'll be honest. You guys must probably know more about the goalkeepers overseas and all that. Somebody that I don't think we'd ever get him, but somebody like Neuer. Who's he play for? Is it Real Madrid or
Bayern Munich?
Bayern Munich. Yeah. Try and go get somebody like that. You know what I mean? You know, like
he's old now, though, isn't he? He's getting on a bit. Yeah. He's about to retire now.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of the young keepers. You know, like when you look at the top guys, you know, the best shout was the one that's playing for PSV now. He's the Italian number one.
Yeah, Donnarumma.
Yeah, he's the young keeper. Yeah, he's the young keeper. He impressed me during the Euros. He was really good and all that. So yeah, I don't know. Like I say, that's why I think Lloris has still got a year or two, and then we need to go out and yeah, because I don't think Galini's our next number one, and we need to bring somebody and blood them in. You know, I'll be honest. A couple of years ago, I quite liked Sam Johnson. Who's he with now, Sam Johnson? Is he still with West Brom or something? Or who's he with?
Yeah.
You know, I like him, and I think, you know, who's our goalkeeping coach now?
Someone's coming with Conte. I'm not sure.
Yeah, somebody's coming with Conte.
Yeah, he's coming with. Yeah, he has actually.
You know, so somebody that's young that comes in. I think Conte and his goalkeeping coach. I think, you know, they can mold them. You know, and like you say, and then what happens is you keep Lloris there, but then when he finishes, he stays on. Because number one, he's a legend, but also that's something he might want to do. But yeah, I'm not goalkeeping. I'll be honest, is not my kind of forte. Yeah, I'd love to, like Darren says, go get a Mendy or something very similar. But I suppose everybody wants a Mendy, don't they? You know, even Man United would get rid of De Gea and get a Mendy in at the moment. You know. Yeah, it's Alisson. You know, I'd love an Alisson, honestly. For me, he's one of the best in the world. If we could get somebody like him from Liverpool, that would just be amazing. And that's where you see Liverpool's transformed, haven't they? You know, with him in goalkeeper, you got Van Dijk, and then you got the two on the left and right. I know Salah will get the plaudits. I know Mane and all those guys. But let's be honest, those four that are at the back, the three of them at the back and the goalkeeper, that's what's really transformed them. And that's where they become title winning. You know, Salah always used to score goals. It's just they used to ship a lot of goals. Now they don't. And that's where we need to be solid as well. So, yeah. So I'd still give him 2 years, Lloris, because I think he's still very good. And I think he'll get better now with his, you know, because that's something that Conte and his team will work on, I think, in his distribution. Because his distribution is shocking, isn't it? Let's be honest. Not as bad as the Brentford keeper, but
it's improved, but it's still not great.
He's distribution, and he's slow as well, isn't he? You know, sometimes he gets the ball, and I'm like screaming. My wife will walk in and go, "Who are you shouting at?" And it's like the TV, and she was like, "They can't hear you, you know that." And I'm like, "Get lost."
Yeah, it is like Darren said. He's the last of a generation now, isn't he? The type of keeper that is there to be a shot stopper.
Oh, he's amazing at shot stopping. Let's be honest. I watched a clip just before we came on. Was it against Southampton? Where the guy was about 80 yards out and he smacked it. And Lloris says, I think he's instinctively gone one way. Like, you know, when you're playing tennis and somebody volleys and you go one way and you're lucky you go the right way and you actually win the point. He instinctively went and he's volleyed this and he's hit it purely. But he's got up so high and he's clipped it over the bar. And it's like everybody's just sitting there going, huh? But yeah, you know, so shot stopping, I think, is amazing. But you're right. I think just if he can get his kicking boots and if he can start thinking about getting the ball out quicker. But then saying that, I don't just blame him. I blame our other players as well, because they're not waiting for the ball. They the only one that really is quick on that is Kane. Have you seen when he gets fouled, he wants to kick straight away because he's already thinking where to. He's the only one. Everybody else is, you see Højbjerg. Højbjerg's like, I like Højbjerg, but Højbjerg's like, slow down, I'm tired.
Jacob, like Darren said earlier, obviously the goalkeeper. Is this where our scouts come in now? Because there's going to be a goalkeeper in South American football. There'll be a goalkeeper in African football. I mean, you look at Ederson. Man City got him from Benfica. Liverpool got Alisson from Roma. Both starters for Brazil. I mean, is this where our scouts really need to start branching out? Don't look at the likes of Nick Pope and Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford. Branch out of England. Go watch a few games in South America or Africa or anywhere, Portugal, anywhere like that. Is that where we've got to start improving now?
Yeah, we've had to do that for years. I don't know when there was ever a time that we've recruited properly. I think there was a little spell of maybe a year or two. I was happy when we had Paul Mitchell and he was bringing in your Dele Alli's, Son, Alderweireld at 15 million. That's the only time I was happy with our recruitment because we had somebody that worked well with Poch because they both worked together at Southampton and they were finding these gems. So you'd hope that history repeats itself and Conte and Patrici managed to do the same thing. But, we all know with recruitment, Conte could agree with Paratici. The problem is going upstairs and asking Daniel for that money and whether he thinks it's a suitable choice. But I think, cross fingers anyway, that Conte he's just told Daniel Levy, look, you either let me do it my way or I'm going to disappear. So I just think, the recruitment's got to be bang on already. They've got to be doing the work already. January for me, all eyes are going to be on Tottenham. Newcastle have got all the money, but everyone's looking at Newcastle thinking, are they going to splash all the cash when they do look destined? So everybody's going to look at Tottenham and think, right, have you got this war chest? Are you going to back Conte? Because if we end the transfer window not selling anybody and buying one player for 30 million, it's pretty clear to everybody that he's not going to be backed. So, we're not looking great. He's working wonders with the best of a bad bunch, like Darren said. But the recruitment's just got to be on point. And Daniel Levy, if the guys are saying we want to get this centre half for 50 million, Daniel Levy's just got to trust him. Same with
Can
the
I just ask though, is Galini not a Paratici signing?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he's on loan though, isn't he?
That's a strange one because Paratici we trust, don't we? He seems to, changes coal into diamonds. So it's quite a strange one, that one.
But at the same time, I think trust Paratici, but wasn't he working with Nuno and that flopped quite quickly?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, with Paratici, I think that was more of a patriotic signing, to be honest with you. You'll find that across a lot of clubs, they've got their patriotic signings. If you look at Poch loved to sign Argentinians. Poch's son was playing at Spurs Academy for ages, and he was wash, to be honest with you. It was terrible. He signed he loved Lamela.
Fazio, didn't he sign for Poch?
Yeah,
did Poch sign Fazio? Jesus, yeah. Do you understand? So he signed. He kept Lamela. He played.
Why didn't he sign Messi?
Exactly. He was going to sign Dybala, that was probably the only good one. But he's very overly patriotic, and a lot of them are. So Paratici, the thing about football is like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and they like to bring in their like their mate's kid or something like that along the lines. And me working sort of in football for the few years that I've seen that quite a lot. That they like to bring in guys that you're thinking, why are you bringing him in? And Galini was like Atalanta's like second choice keeper. So I didn't know anything about him. No. Judging by what I see at NS against Miura, like I'm not really, he's got to buck up his ideas because I told you that wasn't a great performance. But I think that was a
Paratici by Ready Mix, isn't he? Like I said last week. Ready Mix. Cemented exactly. To the ground.
Exactly.
But that was I heard something today. Would you guys? I know he's getting older. Would you take Perisic? Is it Perisic? Is that his name?
Perisic.
Yeah.
No,
Would you
it's-
take it?
He's getting on a bit, you know.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's getting on.
I
But
don't know.
would you
I
take it
don't
for a
know.
season or two under Conte?
I don't know I don't know why these come out, because a day before it was said Conte is looking for young, up and coming players,
Sure.
and then a day later we're linked with the 33-year-old Inter Milan winger. It's
That's
not
the
really.
newspapers for you. The newspapers hate Spurs, so they always do that.
Oh, between now and January, we'll be linked with. I mean, today we've been linked with De Ligt from Juventus. I mean, brilliant signing. If we managed to get
Can you
him,
imagine?
it'll be a phenomenal signing.
Hasn't he got some mad release clause though? I saw he's got a mad release clause, something stupid. Because we'd have to pay a good 80, 90 to 100 million euros for him. He's
On
young.
top of that, you've got to think that, do we really want to be doing business with Juventus?
Right now.
I don't think they're doing business with anybody until that case is cleared up. And then with Paratici, I think he'll keep his head low and not want to go and touch anywhere near that club. So as much as I'd like to delete, on top of that, I've heard what Darren says about, I'm sure his release clause is something dumb like 150 million. So I don't think they're going to be able to work with Daniel Levy. No way.
No way.
See, this is probably Conte's dream at the minute. Paratici's now probably thinking, I'll stay a bit quiet, I'll stay out of the way. So now Conte will have full authority on players he wants bringing in. He will have players on his mind. Go on, Darren.
Sorry, I've just looked. Right, I just looked a quick Fabrizio Romano tweet. I just googled it, but Matthias De Ligt has a release clause of around 150 million euros, but it's only going to be valid starting from July 2022.
Ooh.
And he's not really. He doesn't play that many games for Juventus. With Bonucci and Chiellini always start, don't they? So if you threw Juventus, say a 50 million plus a player, say a Steven Bergwijn or someone that you don't use. I mean, they might not want Bergwijn, but 50 million, and obviously they love the wingers.
50 million and Matt Doherty.
Yeah, that would be great.
No, they'll block Daniel
That's
Levy's
what, 51 million. 51 million too.
Like I say, we're going to be, I think we've been linked to, is it De Vrij or De Vrij? He's the Inter Milan centre-back as well. He's, 24, 25. He's a young... But between now and January 1st, we're going to be linked with absolutely every player.
Everybody.
There's going to be, and like I say, come January 31st, we'll probably sign some Italian Serie B forward who's got 4 goals this season.
Honestly, actually, in Paratici and Conte, I'm trusting. I am trusting them. Obviously, I don't trust Daniel Levy, but I don't think they will have. The thing about Paratici, and especially and Conte, is number one, it looks like Conte wants to take full autonomy with regards to the transfers. And number two, he won't have it if Daniel Levy wants to bring in a cheaper option. He just won't have it, right? And that's what Daniel Levy needs, to kick up the backside to say, look, if you want to be elite, we have to make those elite signings. Stop trying to sign the cheaper options and flipping, pull your finger out, or some bouncing. And to be honest, he needs that. And if he lets Conte go by keeping up the same shenanigans that he has been doing over the last few years, and you know, wants to be Johnny Big Potatoes in the transfer market, then I will take a placard and stand up outside Tottenham with a Levy out banner myself, with Levy out myself, because he's missed the trick. He missed the trick.
Darren, everyone on this panel has said, I think Mark said it, Jacob, Alan and Kirst have said it, that Conte is really Levy's last chance with this fan base now. Do you agree with that?
Very much so, very much so. Like, I've defended Daniel Levy to an extent because commercially, he's second to none. I love the stadium. I love the commercial deals that he's doing. I love the fact that I know that it looks on paper that we're in lots of debt, but the fact is that is sustainable debt. That's debt that will, you know, he's already sort of earmarked to be paid off. So he's very clever with the finances. So I'm not worried that we're not Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? Like, where we're just like floundering, or we're not a Derby County where we're about to go into administration. We will manage our debt. We have great commercial value. We have the NFL, we have the concerts. It's only COVID that messed things up, so the balance sheet doesn't look great as of last season. But that is fine as long that's an anomaly for everybody. We will survive and we will be fine. So I rate him for that. If he stayed and just balanced the books and dealt with the commercial side of things and let somebody else get on with the football side of things, I would not be averse to it. But his problem is he has to be head honcho for everything. Footballing wise, you need to just leave it alone. Get us our watch deals. Get us our tire partner. Get us our online shopping partner. Do you understand? We've got so many commercial partners. It's unbelievable. Get us our stadium naming rights because we need that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not averse to that. But it's just what he does on the with the on pitch activities. There's just no balance. Now you've addressed the balance. I tweeted the other day that Conte is the biggest coup, our biggest coup since Van der Vaart, right? And I have to give Levy ratings for that coup, but you have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to this time. You have to. You can't do anything else but give the man what he wants, because he will turn us into a force to be reckoned with, a Champions League team, which will increase revenue. It just makes sense. We are a football club. Football is our business. So if you are not going to handle the business of the on-pitch activities, we can have as many commercial partners as we want, but they will soon start to dwindle like through the years if we're just making Europa Conference Leagues all the time. So he has to have the balance right. And if he messes this up, like I was done with him once he got Nuno, I was done. But then he went back and got Conte. So I'm like, you know what? Well done. But it's your last chance. It's last chance saloon. It is last chance saloon.
100%.
If you're not gonna back Conte, you need to get out of the club, because you're a liability. You're a hindrance, big massive hindrance. So yeah, that's why my word on that anyway.
I've always said, as simple as this sounds, to make money in football, you've got to spend money. If you want to earn money through Champions League rights, you have to spend money to get in Champions League places. If you want to earn money through higher league positionings, you have to spend money on the squad to finish higher in the league. It's just what happens in football. That's why Man City will never struggle with money. Yes, they've got a rich owner, but he spends so much for Guardiola and other managers because he constantly finishes first, second, third, sometimes third in the league. They get in far in the Champions League every season. So what he spends in the summer, he's getting back at the end of the season through that. And the players he signs, you make it. I mean, look at Ronaldo to Man U. They've probably made more money off his shirt sales alone than what they've spent on him.
Commercially, they would have done a lot with him, and you got clubs like Manchester City, right, and Chelsea, who actually when they've got like a special department. I know Man City have a special department with regards to getting endorsement deals for players, and Man City charge, I think it's between 50 and 75% to their players for those commercial deals. So, you know, they're raking it in. Don't get it twisted. You know, it's especially Man City have flouted financial fair play and paid their way out of it. But clubs like, for instance, Chelsea, I know they've got the Russian mafia oil money coming in, but at the same time, they are making a lot of money in terms of selling their academy prospects, because their academy is top notch. So they're making a lot of money out of that. They got about 70 odd players on loan. Once they sell them, I mean, if you're selling them for like 500,000 to $1 million each, that's 30 to 70 odd million. Do you know what I mean? So they're doing that, and I think if we have the right balance of, you know, A, finishing higher in the league, you know, B, winning trophies, definitely a Champions League, regular Champions League, as we were before, and also a great academy. We've got a good academy. We have got a good academy. It's not the best, but it's probably at least top 10. Do you know what I mean? Top 10 in the country. If we can do that and get some academy prospects through that we can regularly, you know, sell, or, you know, even bring them into the first team, then we're fine. We're almost there, to be honest with you. we're almost there, but the on-pitch activities have been neglected so much. This is why we're in the mud. And I think, you know, if this doesn't work, I won't say we're in grave danger financially, but we're in danger of just being in the doldrums for a long time. That's what I think. Because it's been neglected that long. 2 transfer windows without signing any players, letting managers go, you know, having you know, the wrong choice in managers. Now we've got the right choice in managers. Back the man. Simple as.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mark, have you got anything to add on that? You've obviously had a big say on Levy in the past. Is Darren completely right? Commercial wise and outside of the actual football, Levy is a genius, whether you like to admit it or not. He brings in the money. He makes a lot of money for this club, and he's got brilliant resources. But on the pitch, like Conte has said already, as good as we are off the pitch, now it's time to make us that good on the pitch.
Yeah,
So do you agree with Darren?
We've had this discussion before over the last few weeks, and nobody can deny that he's an astute businessman. You know, you look at the stadium, you look at the training grounds, you look at the lodge. So yeah, absolutely. And Darren's right. You know, the problem with him is, and like most CEOs and everything, they want their finger on the pulse with everything. It's a power thing. And those people, that's why they make so much money. However, you know, you look at like the Romans, you look at the Sheikh Mansours. Yeah, they involved in it. You know, you don't think what's his name, Mubarak, whatever his name is, he goes and spends 120 million or 100 million on Grealish without Sheikh Mansour going, yeah, no, you can spend it. But Sheikh Mansour's kind of like, well, is he going to improve us? Is he going to do that? Yeah, go ahead. We're going to win the league. We're going to come second. We're going for Champions League. Whereas Tottenham's different. They you know, he looks at it a different way, and it's just a strange way. You know, the thing for me is like, you know, what's his name, Lewis, who owns us, Joe Lewis. He's worth what, $6.5 billion? I read an article the other day. He spent more money on paintings in the last 3 years than he has on the football club in the 20 years. He spent something like 600 million on paintings because he loves art and that, apparently. And, you know, that's a worry, isn't it? When somebody like that, and that's his passion. If art's his passion and he's got his money, great. But then don't buy a football club, you know. Don't buy a football club. You know, I think Darren's right. We need to get to the bottom of our naming rights, and that's where Levy needs to work on. You know, he brought in this top American guy that got the biggest deal for the American football. We've still heard nothing. You know, I bet you he's on a big whack as well, isn't he? This guy coming from America. So he's not going to be cheap. But yeah, leave it to Paratici and Conti. And I, for me, I think some of the deals are already done, or they're being done as we speak, or people are talking already. You know, so I think that's already being done. Yeah, and if Levy can stay away from it, where and I think you know me by now, I don't think Conte's come without any assurances.
Yeah,
that for me is key. Definitely. So I think Levy knows as well, if he doesn't give him those assurances, if Conte walks because of it, I'm not talking about, and I don't want to say fake fans, because they are still fans, but if you look at Tottenham over the last maybe 6-7 years, it's become a commercial business. Whereas out of the 62,000 fans that go there, I would say 45,000 are your true Spurs fans. And I mean the ones that have season ticket holders for the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And then we've got a new breed of fans that, you know, to their credit, they come from South Korea and they follow Son. They don't follow Tottenham. They follow Sonny because he's their hero. And because he plays for them, you know, they support Tottenham and they come and that's where you're seeing a lot of that, which is fine. And that's where Tottenham make a lot of money as well. But I think you'll see if Conte does walk away, you will see those real core 45, 50, 60,000 Tottenham fans. That's it. They will be done. I'm sorry. They will be done. And I'm one of them. And I'll be honest, last year I didn't renew my season ticket. And I had one of those VIP ones that cost me $4,500 a year. You know, so I decided not to renew it because I wasn't enjoying the match experience, you know. And that's that's the way it is, you know. So yeah, so keep him away from it. But we've all discussed it. Will he take that? That's not his nature, you know. So I'm hoping he does, and we'll see January, won't we? It's around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, you've been very vocal on Daniel Levy. Like every other Tottenham fan, you have your say on how you think he's running the club. Obviously, how do you think he'll do in January? Do you think he'll concentrate on the stadium naming rights? Obviously, like Darren and Mark have said, we're heavy with NFL, huge with NFL now. I mean, they've got their own pitch underneath our football pitch. So from where I stand, White Hart Lane's gone now. I couldn't give two shits what this stadium's named now. Now White Hart Lane's gone, I could not care what you could call it, the American Football Stadium, the NFL Stadium, anything like that. I mean, is that where he needs to concentrate now and just literally sign the checks that Conte takes to him?
Yeah, he needs to stay away from football. Like you said, it's like what Mark said about why is Joe Lewis buying a football club? Well, it's pretty obvious that he's bought a football club to fund those paintings. You know what I mean? He's probably taking our money and spending 600 million of it to go and get the paintings. You know, so they all need to stay away from it. You know, you can run a successful club and keep the fans happy and get your money. You know, you look at Leicester, for instance, they're not making as much money as us, but I'm sure the owner's happy, the fans are happy. You know, they're where are they? 13th in the league. But I don't think you'll meet a Leicester fan that'll be going mad. They'll be a bit upset that they should be doing a lot better. But in the last 10 years, realistically, they've been a bigger club than Spurs in terms of they've played. You know, overall, they've won more stuff. You know, they've yeah, that's all I've got to say. Really, they've won more stuff. So you can mix it about. There's no way you can tell me that Joe Lewis couldn't go and get his paintings, Daniel Levy couldn't do his commercial stuff, and they couldn't give Pochettino an extra 50 to 100 million to go and make sure that the following season, after challenging for the league, we go and win it. You know, when we challenged Leicester, you gave that squad 50 to 100 million and let Pochettino get rid of the people they didn't want. You probably would have won the league the next season. Even though Chelsea were that strong, I think we would have bridged the gap even closer because we didn't spend no money. You know, we were qualifying for Champions League football regularly whilst playing at Wembley. We got to the final playing at Wembley. It's like all you had to do is invest properly. And I'm not saying just give someone loads of money and just spend it willy-nilly. Just leave Paul Mitchell where he was, Pochettino where he was, and give him the correct amount of money, and you can still concentrate on your commercials. And as Darren said, if you've got a better team and you spend bigger money on better players, those players return more money because, you know,
investment.
Diabala brings in loads of money. You go and bring in, I'm not saying we were going to get Aguero, but if you bring a player of that ilk, you bring in loads of money, bring in all these little pretenders. Nobody's buying their shirt until they get to that level, which historically Tottenham buy these gems and they never work.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, before I go to predictions, Darren, obviously I've spoke to Jacob and Mark and the rest of the panel about this before, but how big is someone like Son for us? Because the shirt sales he makes for us is probably it's not as much as Ronaldo would have got for Man U, but season after season, South Korean fans of Son travel to the Tottenham Stadium. They will buy his merchandise. Tottenham probably make not just the kits with Son's name on, but they've probably got endless amounts of T-shirts and jumpers with Son logos on them. How big of a revenue is a player like that for us?
It's huge. He'd be what, Asia's best player? I'm trying to think anybody better than him in Asia. He's a superstar, a complete and utter superstar in South Korea. You know, and they love him and they love Spurs because of him.
He's the poster
Asian
boy,
market. What's that?
He's the poster boy.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be the kind of guy that when he's older, he could probably run for a politician, like say like Manny Pacquiao in the Philippines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's that huge. You know, so the Asian market is in the market that a lot of football clubs have been looking to tap into for a long time. Man United have got that market on lock. Have had that market on lock for a long time. You know, Liverpool have got that market on lock. Do you know what I mean? And you know, you got Chelsea Chelsea with their success venturing into that. We've got actually a player who is the top player in that market. So it's lucrative. It's very lucrative. The merchandise that must be sold over there, it must be immense. You've got the pay-per-view, the TV, the TV deals going on over there. He raises the stock of Tottenham, and it's good to keep him and sign him on a new contract. Plus, he's a great player on top of it, and we all love him too. So that's just good business. Do you know what I mean? That is just good business. So, but imagine him now if we'd won the Champions League in 2019. Imagine if we'd won the league in 2016-17. Imagine, his stock would have risen even higher, which means commercially it would have been even more. I mean, success breeds money. That's a fact in football. Success breeds the dough. Well, in English football anyway, right? Because we're not looking at Inter Milan and that such likes. But the success here would have brung more money. And you know what? We can only be in the Europa Conference League for so long, or Europa League for so long, before people just get bored of us. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
And it dwindles commercially. So yes, Son is extremely important, more important than people actually think or know. Like merchandising wise, like South Koreans come to see him and him alone. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's good that we have a diverse crowd at Spurs, because even if he leaves, they're still going to have an affinity with us. So even if 10,000 of them go to Son's new club and 10,000 of them stay at Spurs, there's still more bums on seats, which mean more revenue. It's just a great move, and Son is really good for our club. His attitude's really good for our club. The way he's always smiling, the fact that he seems to love the club as well. All in all, it's just a win-win situation with Son, I think.
Well,
we just need to win trophies with him.
Yeah, I mean, touch wood, obviously, he's still a very young player. He's not going to be retiring anytime soon, Mark, but he's another one who would come back after retirement as an ambassador, which still brings that core fan base, the South Korean fans, to Tottenham, because they'll follow Son wherever he goes.
Yeah, I agree. But I think with Darren, I think he'll be president for South Korea or prime minister. I think that's the way he is. Or, he'll go in and have kids with his K-pop band lady thing, and they'll start a K-pop band or something. He's just adored over there, isn't he? He's just, I'd love to see somebody like him. Can you imagine going to the stadium and he does like the Ledley King ambassador thing? He's just so popular, but he's not just popular with Asians. I think he's popular with, I love him. I think he's a great player. I think he's just one of those players that's passionate. He shows dedication, and we all relate to him, don't we? That's what we want to see from a player. You don't have to be from South Korea to like him, but I think he's cornered the Asian market, and I think he's worth, 25-40 million pounds a year to us in commercial value, with sales. See, like I was saying earlier, and what Darren said, we must have 5,000 Korean fans sitting in our stadium every game now, and you can see the South Korean flags and that, and they might not support Tottenham as a club, but they support Sonny. So because they support Sonny, they support Tottenham. And then the shirt sales and everything. I remember when I lived in Dubai, I used to fly to China and places like that for the hotels. And the first time I ever went, you'd walk into the big sports shops and you'd always see Arsenal and you would always see Man United and Chelsea and all that. And you would kind of like look for Tottenham and you wouldn't see Tottenham. But then 2016, 2017, when I went, I was in Shanghai, and you walk into these big, and then you see Tottenham, and you see Sun and all that. And I know it's China, but Asia is Asia, and football's big in China. And And that's like what we're saying, you know, these commercial values, and that's where I think Daniel Levy needs to kind of really concentrate and keep the footballing sides to the people that know it.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, obviously, like Darren and Mark said, 5,000 South Korean fans in the stadium. Every single one of them has a Tottenham shirt with the name Son on. So say that comes up to 70. I know it's probably more, but say it's £75. Is actually all of them wearing it. That's £375,000 sat in those seats at that stadium. I mean, the revenue alone on this, but not just is he important off the pitch for the club commercially, but on the pitch, he's just as big, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a big player. It's like, you know, it's like what Fergie did with Ji Sung Park. You know, they obviously Man United had the pretty much the whole world wrapped up, because at the time they're the biggest club and probably still are the biggest club in the world. But bringing in someone like Park, revenue just went through the roof. It's what you need to do. There's certain parts of the world that I don't think a lot of teams have tapped into. You know, like you've got the Far East, which is probably the biggest one, which is probably the most populated continent, isn't it? And there's certain, but you're not really getting many players out there. So when you do get a Son, a Ji-Sung Park, you know, Wolves have just got that player Hwang. He's one to watch out for, because I think if he moves on from Wolves to a bigger club, let's say, no disrespect to Wolves, if he was to go to, you know, a Spurs or a Man United, I think he's another person that would be the next one up from Son, because I'm sure when he gets off the plane at South Korea, I bet he gets swarmed just as much as Son does. So,
but yeah, Arsenal just taken on Tamiyasu.
Yeah.
Arsenal took Tamiyasu. We were linked to him, weren't we?
Yeah, that's the Japanese market, isn't it? Yeah, that's like I say, a lot of signings now, Jacob. A lot of signings now are a lot of clubs really look into the commercial value of these players now, don't they?
Mm-hmm. It's the truth. It's like, you know, if Africa was, you know, more financially steady, let's say, you know, me being African, when you go there, the passion that they've got for, especially English football, is ridiculous. And you know, I'm sure you guys would have seen, you know, when Drogba, you know, Zaha.
Well, look at JJ Kocher at Bolton.
Go back to Africa. You know, if Africa was a place where everybody had loads of money, I think we'd be cornering that. I think that's why you get a lot of African players coming into the league, but they normally corner off places like, you know, France and places like that. That's where they predominantly come from. But, you know, in the Far East, it's difficult but Arsenal have done it, we've done it, Wolves have done it, Man United have done it, and it's pretty clear that, you know, going back to what we were talking about, that Son, I think he's our most important player on the pitch as well as off it. You know, I love Harry Kane to bits. I know he's the most important. He's our number 9, but I panic more when we haven't got Son than when we haven't got Kane.
I'm the same. I am the same. I can see Darren ready to give his opinion on that. I do. If we go into a game, Darren, with no Son, we've got Bergwijn on the pitch, but we've got Son without Kane. How do you feel before a game?
What, Son without Kane? You know, before, you know what? A few years ago, I was like, oh no, we need Harry Kane. But Son has always been a great, I say backup. I wouldn't say backup to Harry Kane, but he's been a great sort of replacement for him at the time. Because every time Harry Kane's been injured, we've barely lost. To be honest with you, we don't seem to miss him that much. Because Son usually stepped up to the plate and scored goals. So, you know, I always used to disagree that Son was more important than Kane, but you know what? Like, I can't really fight it anymore. Like, Son's more important. Son is more dangerous. Son can take a ball from halfway. He's done it at least twice and bang it in. Kane can't, unfortunately. For me, I don't actually mind, and if we sell Kane, I don't mind it at all, because I just want to see, you know, I do want to see fresh blood up front. And I said at least 2 years ago, I said that I would have sold Kane, taken the money, bought Icardi, and built and a few more players. That was a few years ago when Riccardi was doing all right. But I would have done that. I would have been fine with it because, like, as much as I do love Harry Kane, I love the team more. And he's not the be all and end all of the team, but he's been a great servant for us. But I do think, you know, we're lacking in so many departments now. It'd be. I don't mind him going now. He's done what he can for us, to be honest with you, and I don't mind him going. But I would keep Son. I would definitely keep Son because whatever striker we buy, you know, Son will be pivotal to that supply line for him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Mark, I'm going to go to the predictions for the Norwich game, but I'm tweaking our little competition up, Mark and Jacob. I'm tweaking it up a little bit. I'm going to add another extra points bonus into this just to spice it up a little bit. Okay, I can see both your faces. You're looking, thinking, what the fuck's he doing now? But now Alan's taking the lead. I think we really need to start fighting this now because I do not want Alan winning this. He's the last person I want to win this. So, as well as your prediction, Mark, I'm going to give an extra 3 points if you get the first goal scorer in the game correct.
Oh, I like that.
So as well as predicting it, so say when we play Liverpool, say if you think that we'll draw 2-2 or lose 2-1, but you pick Mo Salah, it hasn't got to be a Tottenham player to score the first goal. It can be the opposition player, then you will get 3 points. Whether the scoreline is right or wrong, if you predict the goal scorer right in that game, the first goal scorer, you will get your 3 points. So
I'm better running down the bookies than I.
Well, it gives you inspiration, Jacob. It gives you inspiration for the bookies. So, Mark, you'll be the first one to go up on this. I want your score prediction and who you feel will score the first goal in that game.
I'm going to go 3-0. Do you know what? Just because he's my triple captain on Sunday, I'm going to go with Harry Kane.
You've triple captained him in the FPL, have you?
Against Norwich, yeah, I had to.
Well, funnily enough, Mark, you've gone for the exact same result as me and the exact same goal scorer.
Yeah, I got it. Water in my bones on this one. I think he's a trick or something.
Well, that's it. But the man to follow recently has been Jacob. So, Jacob, what are you going for and who's scoring the first goal?
I want to go 2-1 Tottenham. And the first goal scorer, I'm going to go with Lucas Moura.
Lucas. Not bad. I mean, obviously, thanks for tuning in. Nipoon, who's always in every Friday, he thinks we'll win 4-0 for that game. So thank you very much. I know, Darren, you're not in our competition, but what prediction and scoreline and who do you think will score the first goal at the weekend?
All right. Comfortable 2-0 Harry Kane. He'll score a brace this week.
I mean, I won't mind that, but Nipoon obviously went 4-0. He's also gone skip. To get so you are Oliver Skip against the club he was on loan at last season. It's not bad. It's not a bad shout. It's worth a couple of pounds at the book.
Will he celebrate? Is the question.
He fucking better do, Darren.
He spent 2 seasons there, didn't he?
Yeah. He was very good. Yeah, they loved Skip at that. I think they actually tried. Norwich and Newcastle both tried to actually sign him permanently in the summer.
Norwich, I'm sure Norwich would have. He was player of the season last season.
Yeah,
I'm sure they would have tried.
I think he missed the last 2.5 months as well. I think he injured his foot, didn't he, at the end of...
Yeah, he had to have surgery, didn't he?
Yeah, and he still won player of the season with 2.5 months missing at the end. But, gentlemen, we've gone an hour and 50 minutes now. It always goes longer than we predict. There's always so much to talk about when it comes to Tottenham. But, Mark, just let everyone know where they can find you.
Nowhere. Just here. I'm only here.
Every Friday we have
Every Friday. Everybody wants me, but I say no.
That's because we're paying you. That's because we're paying you the biggest contract, Mark. We're paying you the biggest fee. That's why.
My release clause is huge, pal.
That is correct. Your release clause is Your release clause is a Pedre or an Ansu Fati release clause. That's what we've got you on at the minute. Jacob, thank you again for tonight, mate. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can just find me. I've got a couple of shows coming up. Honestly, I can't remember off the top of my head the name of the shows, but I've got invited to a Tottenham one December 13th. So keep an eye on my Twitter and I'll post that up. But predominantly just on here chatting with you guys. We keep it real in here. Sometimes it gets heated, sometimes it's calm. But, if you want to find my opinion on Spurs in particular, just keep an eye on my Twitter and keep an eye out for this show every Friday at 10.
Yeah, before I go to Darren, Nipun has asked if we can answer his question, which I will not deny, because he is a big supporter of the channel. But do any of you lads see Skip as a future England international? I'll start with you, Mark.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah. I see that Jordan Henderson's getting older, and this was my thing last week when I said about being captain, and Alan was like, no. But Jordan Henderson's getting on a bit. So, I know Phillips is there, but I think Skippy, what's he, 21? Yeah, I think he's got a good chance. Yeah. And especially if Winks can make England.
It just depends on what happens because, at the minute we're relying on Skip and he's performing well. But, if Conte's saying to himself next season, he wants Tottenham to be challenging for top four, better yet, challenging for the title, let's say, or challenging for trophies. Do we honestly think that Skip's going to be the main man, or is he just going to go into the market and find someone else to do that? Because he's been linked heavily with the likes of Brozovic and people like that. If he brings in a Brozovic, only Skip ain't playing. So it all depends. It depends on where he is, because if he's under the Conte regime and Conte's brought all his squad around and Ollie Skip is still playing, then why not? Gareth Southgate's got a tendency to automatically pick English players based off them playing for the top six sides. You look at Grealish, he was struggling to get in and out the England squad. As soon as he went to Man City, his first name in the team sheet. So as long as he can continue playing for Tottenham and Tottenham are progressing, then I don't see why not. Because I think he's a lot better than what a lot of people give him credit for, because he's steady, and whenever I don't see him on the team sheet, he's another one like Son. I kind of panic because for me, he's the best of a bad bunch.
Yeah, definitely. Darren, how do you feel about
that? He'll get his first cap before the end of this season. Definitely, because he's been performing well, and as Jacob was saying, Gareth Southgate does have a tendency to this is what I like about Southgate. He has a tendency to pick the informed players for England. So even if I'm not sure he's making any World Cup squad, but he'll probably get a cap in a friendly before this season is done. He'll get a run out. So yes, I do. He's 21 years old, so probably within the next 5 years, he could well be a regular. Because he could well be a regular. Because I know like a lot of people love Calvin Phillips and what have you. I think Oliver Skip, if he can continue on an upward trajectory, he can be just as good, just as good as Phillips. I really do believe that, because they've been gassing him since he was young, and I've seen him play in the youth team, and he's very good. And I mean, he went to the championship as a novice almost, and handled that so well, and he was getting man of the matches week in, week out.
that?
Like, you got to give him props for that. So yes, he will be, and I think he'll be eventually become a regular before the age of 27, 28.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. I think he'll be part of a rotation with Rice and Phillips. Like Darren said, he went to the championship, and there's a young lad that's going into, that is proper men's football, the championship. That will toughen you up very quickly. Not just the players you're against, but the fans that you have as well. The fans are a lot closer to the pitch. in the smaller championship stadiums, he would have got a hell of a lot of abuse playing in those games from those fans. So it toughens you mentally and physically playing in the championship. So I think that does benefit us and England in the future. But Darren, it's always a pleasure to do a stream with you. I think I speak for not only myself, but the gentleman on tonight that you are welcome any Friday. You are free from work. Whenever you want to come on, you are more than welcome. But do you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, first of all, thank you once again for having me on. It's always an honor and a pleasure to be on on your platforms. Always, just to discuss the game we love and the team we love. I just love doing it. You can catch me at Twitter at Mr. Darren_T. I'm generally a regular, not every week, but I'm a regular, and I'm on tomorrow at a show called at DD Footy Factory on Top FM. I can't remember the frequency, but you can get it on an app called Simple Radio. So we do the DD Footy Factory show every Saturday, 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. I'll be on there tomorrow, discussing all things Prem, Champions League, and Tottenham. So yeah, but also hit me up at Mr. Darren_T on Twitter. I'm more than happy to have some discourse regarding football because I love it.
Very good, gentlemen. Again, thank you very much. Don't forget, obviously, we have Alan on every Friday. I think that's at Alan R. Clark on Twitter, and Football Terrace, he goes on regularly, and at THFC Kirst, who's just hit her 5,000 followers mark on Twitter. So don't forget to follow her. Don't give her no shit. She will not appreciate shit. She will block you if you give her any sort of rubbish. But thank you all very much, and gentlemen, I'll see you all next week.